Okay, it's been a few months since I made a video for this channel of mine. And it's long overdue, and I hope you enjoy it. We're gonna go over document 50, manifestation 1 to 5. If people, those are not familiar with my work, for your reference, it will be chapter 50, verse 1 to 5. I'm gonna first go over what the hadithas and also what the so-called Quranists agree with. And just on a side note, there's no difference in people between the Hadithas and the Quranists. They literally believe in the same things. That is, that there is a religion. It doesn't make any sense because that's rejected in the Quran. That's for a video for another day. And if they can't get out the box, and the box is religion, then they're all the same. They're just arguing within this box about something that's irrelevant. What's the point of arguing about something when you're already stuck in a prison? Arguing about getting out when you're both in a prison you don't even know. The Hadith and the Quran are both in a prison. They don't even know they're in this box, and this box is religion. Once they get out of the box, maybe they'll be able to think for themselves. But at the moment they can't. So I'll lump them all together. They're just arguing just for a show. It's like a puppet show, left between right and so forth. It doesn't make any sense at all. But let's move forward. So we're going to go over what the majority say. Okay, so we start off with chapter 50, like I say, and the first verse or manifestation is the word kaf. The Quranis and the Hadiths all say that these letters, you get these letters sometimes before the start of the verses. You get these letters, and they say it's a miracle of the Quran, and none but God knows their meanings, which is pretty ridiculous. You know, that they should think that God will put something in a book that people should study and put words in it that no one will ever understand. But anyway, let's move on. So they go on to say, by the glorious Quran, that's verse 1. Verse 2, nay, they wonder that there has come to them a warner from amongst themselves. So the disbelievers say, this is a strange thing. When we are dead and have become dust, that is a far return. We know that which the earth takes of them, and with us is a book preserved. Number 5, nay, but they have denied the truth when it has come to them, so they are in a confused state. I haven't read what's in brackets, and you realize why I haven't read in brackets, because it doesn't make any sense what they are saying. Really, it's just a mumble jumble. Don't make no sense at all. But now I'm really back to you when they put the brackets in it. But there's some particular people, I'm not going to mention names, they don't put brackets, but they really manipulate the words as far beyond what's actually interpreted. And so sort of they put the brackets within the words, and they add words and stuff like that, which is probably, I don't know which is more conniving, putting brackets in or not putting brackets in but adding words. Well, they're just the same. So let's read it again, but this time with the brackets. Kaf, in brackets. These letters are one of the miracles of the Quran, and none but Allah knows their meanings, close brackets. So we continue. By the glorious Quran, verse 2, nay, they wonder that there has come to them a warner, in brackets Muhammad SAW, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, close brackets, from amongst themselves. So the disbelievers say this is a strange thing. Verse 3, when we are dead and have become dust, shall we be resurrected, in brackets, question mark, then brackets, close brackets. That is a far return. 4, we know that which the earth takes of them, open brackets, the dead bodies, close brackets, and with us is a book preserved, open brackets, i.e. the book of decrees, close brackets. 5, nay, but they have denied the truth, open brackets, this Quran, close brackets, when it has come to them, so they are in a confused state, open brackets, cannot differentiate between right and wrong, close brackets. Okay, so they add the brackets, shall we be resurrected, just to make sure, because it still isn't clear is that's what they're arguing about. But they want you to believe that they're returning from that state, but it's not clear. Take out the brackets, it's still not clear. But we'll come up to that particular word, rag abaid. So then they come up to number 4, verse 4, then continues that we know that what the earth decomposes, what the earth takes of them, Again, you use the word of them, takes of them, which is inaccurate, but anyways, it's minor. So they say we know. So who are we? Argue that it's the angels speaking now. The angels speaking now. They know basically everything. How dare you sort of argue that there's no return when you're dead and then turned into dirt? And they continue to say, no, but still, even though we know all this stuff and we're angels, they still deny the truth when it comes to them. And this is why they're in a confused state. So that's the drift of the argument. They are basically saying that listen, I'm not going to use those terms. Document 50, those who don't know more work, will know it's chapter 50. Document 50, manifestation 1 to 5, they are trying to say, confirms that there is a day of resurrection or a day of judgment of some sort. But now I'll give you my interpretation, which I hope you enjoy, because it does make sense. Okay, so they go on to Kaf, they say that it's miracles of the Quran and nobody knows it apart from God, which is, just doesn't make sense. I mean, just walk away, just, stand back a bit, and just don't follow the herd and think for yourselves, why in heavens, sorry, rather than use the word hell, why in heavens would God put a word or words in the Quran nobody understands, even though he asks his followers to learn the Quran? But anyway, let's move forward. I believe these words that you see prior to the actual beginning of a document represents sound and frequency, because everything is sound and frequency. If you understand that, you understand how this world, or the reality of this place we're in. So Kaf, I believe, is a sound or some sort of frequency. Now I don't understand exactly what it is, and I think there are people out there that do, and it is possible to learn what these frequencies are meant to depict. I mean, you can have some words from your vocal sound alone, and you can restructure water, produce the same particular sounds, because it gives your vocals gives out a certain frequency, every frequency known, and some of those sounds could be good, and some of those sounds could be detrimental. So these sounds, these so-called miracle words, are actually sound and frequency, something to do with that. But again, I'll move on. It's something I haven't got time to look into. Well, let's continue. It says, by the honored Quran, or the glorious Quran. Again, they use the word Quran as if it's a noun. It isn't a noun. Quran means, you should read it out or teach it to people. It should be taught. This is a book that should be taught. It's a book with no title. So it should be, by the honored or glorious book that should be taught to the people. Verse 2, indeed, they marvel that a one has come from amongst them. Thus, the word is kufar. Kafir comes from the word kufr, is when you cover something over, so you don't know what's beneath it. So it is basically anybody that hides, walks away, or lies or covers the truth. They are kufar. So it doesn't matter which religion you follow, you can be a Muslim and still be a kafir if you hide from the truth or cover the truth to the belly. So you can understand from that word, the majority of people, I'm afraid, are kafirin. So we move on. Thus, those that cover over or hide from the truth, the kafirin. Now this is what the kafirin are saying. Those that hide from the truth or run away from the truth. I mean, I'm sure you know people, when you tell them the truth, they just don't want to listen. They're kufar in the term, but there's not a term for that in English. Maybe I heard the word sheep, but I think that's not fair, is it? Because some people deliberately cover the truth, and they're quite cunning. So, but there isn't a word for that in English. But anyway, those that don't want to seek the truth or run away from the truth, this is what they're saying. This is something amazing, right? They're saying that this is something amazing. Then we go on. When we are dead and have become dirt, full stop, that is raga ba'id. This is the word in Arabic, raga ba'id. Raga can mean return, but we're talking about a book that is debating and teaching people and refuting the old ways. And so raga can mean return, raga. Raga also can mean when a party tries to advise a party that's not listening. We could say an advice. And ba'id is far or something in the distance. It's really, really far to reach, Ba'id, somewhere far, far away. So Raga Ba'id should be interpreted as an advice that's far, far away for us. It's basically an advice we do not accept. So once you take that interpretation, which is the correct interpretation, and I can't believe, these Arabs, that continuously interpret this book, cannot see this. It baffles me sometimes. But anyway, let's move on. So they receive some advice now about something, and they're now reputing it and saying this is something amazing. When we are dead and have become dirt, that is advice that's really, really far for us. It's like we don't accept it. So it says it there, right for you, clear as sunlight. There's no brackets involved, no manipulation of any words. That they're saying that when we are dead, we become dust. Is that it? There's nothing after that? That's what they're saying. They're saying, you're telling us that there's nothing after that. We don't accept it. That's what they're saying. And then it continues in verse 4 that the we, which I believe is a group of people that understand the ancient knowledge, and this is not Muhammad, this is not angels, we know what the earth decomposes of what is in it. With us is a book or knowledge we have preserved. It's talking about ancient knowledge. This is before religions. Indeed, they lie about God's truth when it is presented to them. Thus, they are in a miserable confusion. They are in miserable confusion. So, we understand there's a dispute going on. The first verse is just giving the glory to this book, that this knowledge. And then secondly, it goes that, well, so there was some sort of argument. Well, indeed, there was a debate between one party, Muhammad, and another party about something. We understand that concept. We understand we got that far. But then, those that, the kuffar, so it's trying to say these that don't want to know the truth, or do know the truth but reject it, they say this is something amazing. When we are dead and have become dirt, that means you're dead and you've decomposed, that is advice we can accept. It's saying right there that there is no day of resurrection or day of judgment, some people call it. There's nothing of the sort whatsoever. And this chapter has been manipulated to give you the impression that there is, but still not completely accurate. Even when they use the word rag al-ba'id and they interpret it as far return, it's still not clear unless they indoctrinate you into that way of thinking. But if you were to read this book for the first time and had no prior knowledge, and there was no brackets in it, and you just took the interpretation for what it was, you still not come up with the conclusion that verse number 3 is saying that there's a day of resurrection, that when you die you become dirt, and then on the special day when the special horn is blown, everybody will just pop out the ground in bone and flesh, and worms popping out their flesh, and you can imagine the sight. There'd be worms coming out, eat people's ears and eyeballs. I mean, would God put people through that state? And there's some people that say, no, you'll pop out and you'll be nicely, your figures will all come back to normal. But why you do that in the first place? I mean, the ground starts shaking and all that stuff. I know people refer to a particular chapter where it talks about that, but again, they manipulated, they lied about so many interpretations. That's all I can say. So yeah, sorry to disappoint those that believe that there was a day of judgment or a day of resurrection. This chapter, interpreted correctly, rejects it. In fact, I sent this explanation to a famous Quranist that I won't mention his name. He's written a couple of books, and I did have some interaction with him. I mentioned this to him. He never responded to me ever again. That's very common for Quranists to not accept the truth, because they think that they're righteous because they have sought the truth. I mean, I've contacted many Quranists and I've asked them for their opinion, and they never respond. I think one did respond, and his argument was the Quran is perfectly written. It cannot be done by anybody but God. Which okay, but every language is pretty special if you ask me. But anyway, yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, see you soon.